A year or two ago, there was a game that was released called PokeRogue. Now, if you've never heard of a roguelike game is one where you're basically guaranteed to lose the first few times that you play it. The idea being whenever you lose, you restart over from the beginning of the game, but you get to keep a few of the perks or a few of the power-ups and stuff that you got after you lost. So, PokeRogue goes into this, and it is honestly a very cool premise. We can see here that we can start off with, we start with all of the starter Pokemon up to Generation 9, the most current generation as of time of recording. And each of these Pokemon has a point value. You can select as many Pokemon up to 6 that you want to start with, as long as your total points does not go above 10. Now, as much as I absolutely love Blaziken is my favorite Pokemon, has been since I was a kid, I also know Blaziken's not exactly the best starter. So as much as I want to start off my first run with Blaziken, I am not. I end up going with Sprigatito, Chimchar, and Mudkip, getting my Fire, Water, Grass trio here at the beginning. So, we are going to start a brand new run of PokeRogue. Now, I think this version of PokeRogue has actually been updated, or maybe it's a follow-up to the original PokeRogue, but we basically just battle until we lose. So here on our very first encounter, we find a Pawmi, and at the start of every battle, they also allow you to switch your Pokemon. Now, I'm just getting familiar with some of the buttons, trying to familiarize myself with the layout, look at how everything looks, and we are going to start off our run here by getting off a Leafage and a Scratch to take down the Pawmi. Now, at the end of every battle, you are going to get 3 random drops, and then also you're going to have a few options at the top to heal or revive your Pokemon, or to get more PP or something like that. Now, in my first ever run here, I have no ambitions of beating this. I really hope I can just make a somewhat deep run, not get eliminated within the first couple of levels, but I'm going to show my inexperience here in just a second, because as I'm looking through this, I'm not reading it as carefully, but basically you need to always pick an item at the bottom. Those are free. You do not have to pay for them. It does not come out of your money. And a lot of times you can actually get some pretty good stuff, but as you can see there, I just backed out and did not even take the free rare candy to level up my Pokemon by 1 level. So, I don't even know if I do that in the second one or not, but you can see oh yeah, one other thing that happens in PokeRogue is stat changes carry over from battle to battle. So if you can set up and get a +6 attack or something like that, you can basically carry that into your next battle until you switch out the Pokemon, which I think is rather cool. Here we get our first Ultra Ball drop. The better the ball that you see, the better the item typically. And again, showing my inexperience, I did not take any of the free items. Like, seriously. Thankfully, I think that's the last time I do that. I start to realize that you should keep at least something. Here I decide to get a lure, which is going to increase our chances of getting a double battle, but we're going to skip forward to our first trainer battle. So every now and again you will get trainer battles, there are boss battles, there are rival battles. The trainer battles can be literally at any time. But this last is just going to come in here, throw a couple of Weedles at us. We have our fire-type Chimchar, so this is not going to be too difficult. One other thing that you can do as you're playing through these levels is you can get Pokeballs to capture Pokemon. But let's jump forward to our first rival battle. Our rival is Ivy. She is going to get a check on us because we don't want to start our adventure if we're not strong enough, but she's going to throw out a Rowlet. Thankfully, I've got Chimchar in the lead still, so this Rowlet should go down very quickly, especially since I just burned it. And Astonish does basically nothing, and here's what I was not expecting. The AI in this game is actually better. She saw that she was going to lose that, so she switched out into Fletchling. So I pivot over to Mudkip, even though this Fletchling is not a fire type yet, and we almost have our Mudkip faint. Now, this is not a Nuzlocke, so thankfully we don't have to worry about if our Pokemon faints, we lose it forever. We just have to find a way to revive it after a battle or something like that. And there are some battles that you get auto-healed after the battle. I think it might be after every 10 battles. But I switch into Sprigatito to tank some hits from this Rowlet, because I have a feeling it can, since, you know, grass on grass type, and Astonish does nothing hardly so. We are able to take down our rival, and we are going to actually get experience shares and experience all and stuff to boost all of that. So anytime you run across something like that, the items stack, I think. So you can end up getting a lot of experience for your Pokemon in the back. Nothing interesting happens until we get here to Town 9. We end up beating the Lillipup, and Sprigatito learned Bite, get a few items here, and there we can see the Experience All, or EXP All. It gives 20% of a single participant, and I think that stacks. Here we have our first boss Pokemon. So every 10 levels there is some kind of boss. This time it happens to be a Pokemon. So Fletchling, you can see that it actually has a line down the middle there, so it has 2 health bars. So you essentially have to beat this thing twice. And here's my next mistake that I made in my first run-through of this game. I did not catch any Pokemon. You need to be catching Pokemon as you do this. So my advice to you, especially some of these boss Pokemon, they're a little bit stronger. Try to capture them. Later, I do learn this lesson. But we are going to take down this Fletchling. We end up getting a ton of experience sometimes. Some of these boss fights and stuff give just a ton. Yeah, I mean a ton of experience. Here we take down the 13th level. We get some experience, and if I'm not mistaken, we're about to get a pretty good drop here. We end up with a Golden Punch, which means that 50% of the damage that my Chimchar is now going to do, I'm going to get money for that. You can see up there in the top right, we went up to 575. With one more Ember, we go up to 583. So I think this could be a really good item, especially later in the game. If you can get it early, or even if you get it later, like, you can really rack up the money once you start dealing some HP damage. We are now fast-forwarding to level 19. Sprigatito goes down, unfortunately, to this Bidoof, and that was actually the last Pokemon I had. I only made it to level 19 on my first run, which I'm sure is not the worst, but now with a lot more information, now with knowing a lot more about this game, I go into it, we select our starter Pokemon, and I am right away on level 1 catching this Bidoof. And we can see here that we actually get a screen of the IVs and the nature and the ability, and you can actually change all of that whenever you start. So if you want to start with a modest Chikorita or something like that, as long as you have caught one, you can make that selection. And the IVs, I think they take the best ones that you've caught. So if you happen to have caught a Chimchar that has a perfect HP, it will always have perfect HP when you select it. Now, here I get the Multi-Lens, which I think is just a super overpowered item. What this is going to do is basically any attack that I select is going to attack twice instead of just once. It did mention something there about drops in, I thought, maybe accuracy, power, and something else, but honestly, from what I have seen on this, every time I selected a move, I always attacked twice, and it always did basically the same damage. So this is, oh my god, if I could get this Chimchar up, we are going to be dealing some major damage. I find an EXP all a little early this time. Here we get our first Master Ball drop, a DNA Splicer. This was something I had no clue was in the game. Just to test it out, I decided to fuse together my Poochyena and Bidoof, and yeah, I think it could be awesome. The sprite, unfortunately, is not like the sprites in like the fusion games or fusion mods, but the name does change, and the typing and stuff like that can change, and they share a move pool, I think. But here we end up taking down our rival again. Thankfully, we are doing much better on this run. Chimchar is just absolutely overpowered for this early. This Purloin, I decided since I got it down to the red, I'm going to try to capture it just to see, and you can in fact capture boss Pokemon. I didn't actually know that going into that. Now here I get an awesome encounter in an Abra and a Poochyena, so I try to take down the Poochyena, hopefully I don't kill the Abra, and now I capture this Abra. It doesn't have great IVs or anything, but we make it. I now have an Abra that I can select, and now we make it to level 20 for the first time. We are going to get a gym trainer battle. I don't know if it's every 20 levels you get a guaranteed gym leader or something. I'm still learning about this game, but I'm not too worried. It's a water type. We have our Rowlet out there, and we take down the Basculin the very first thing, and this is where I showed you that, like what I mentioned, we could get some serious XP from these, and we get our first evolution of any of my runs. This is only my second run, so Chimchar has officially evolved into Monferno, which means this thing is going to get even more powerful. This Panpour can't really deal with us. I ended up having to switch into Quaxly, but we get a little voucher thing for defeating the first gym leader, so that was pretty good. And we actually get a power-up punch TM, which we just got Mach Punch on this thing. And with the ability for stat changes to carry over, and with the fact that I can attack twice, I actually get 2 attack boosts every time I attack with that, which is insane. Here, you can see that I have caught a Bulbasaur, and since we had already had it before, you saw all of the upgraded stats that we can have. Now we make it to our rival at level 25. Magical Leaf does more damage than I was hoping, but still not too bad. But I'm like, we can still take this thing down. A couple of embers, and she switches over into Hoot, which is not a great matchup for us. I end up, and just watch. Oof. Oof. Yeah, I wiped to her Bombardier. I was not able to do anything. I was incredibly weak to flying types, but that is how a roguelike game works. So now we can see that I'm selecting Bulbasaur because I know that I have some better IVs on it, and we are going to get some insane drops. This is on the first level I get this awesome fire-type move, Heat Wave, which it attacks both opponents when I get a double battle, and it's also insanely powerful for a level 5 Pokemon to have. And here I get a Mega Bracelet drop, which I think will be great later. Right now, since I'm nowhere near being able to Mega Evolve, I didn't get it. Maybe I should have, but I ended up getting another insane drop here with Incinerate. So now I have 2 strong fire-type moves this early in the game. And this trainer with Grookey, oh wait, we are at the rival battle, so her Grookey is not going to be able to do much. Yeah, Incinerate and Heat Wave this early in the game is just going to obliterate these low-leveled early Pokemon. Here I get my first random double battle trainer, and I'm seeing it as a Volbeat and an Isthmus, and I'm like, oh, this thing's going down in one hit. And unfortunately, Heat Wave, if it's not 100% accurate, it's 50% accurate. But take it down, no problem. And here, I was not expecting this. I didn't know we were going to have different costume Pikachus. So that means that there's all kinds of different forms. I do know you can switch between forms. And this Pikachu actually has a perfect HP IV, which is amazing. So, Chimchar evolves again into Monferno. We make it to Gym Leader Crest with relative ease. A couple of Pokemon fainted, but we get healed after this. Bulbasaur evolves into Ivysaur. So this run is going much, much better. I add a P-Till to the team just for some more Pokemon. And also for the levels, because I think some of them were a little low. And we immediately, I think within like 2 battles after that, get the Sunstone to be able to evolve P-Till into Lilligant, which is amazing to have a fully evolved Pokemon at this early. We make it to level 25 to face off against Ivy one more time. And this time, it's going to go a little bit different. We are actually going to beat her. The teams are randomized every time, I think. And we get another cool drop with Charcoal, just to make our Monferno even stronger. Abra is going to end up evolving into Kadabra, which is amazing. I get another EXP all to stack it. I've already got 2. This is 3 in this run now. At level 35, we run into a Plasma Grunt, which I was not expecting, but I guess you can even run into the evil team members. But Grunts, like usual, I wasn't too worried about him. Not too great of a drop here. We've already got a stronger Psychic move than Future Sight. And here we get a Linking Cord, which is used to evolve Kadabra into Alakazam or any trade Pokemon to get their evolution, which is amazing. At the boss battle at level 40, I add a Kecleon to the team. Not too bad in terms of its IVs. We get into the cave area now. We get a change in scenery. Some new different types of Pokemon can appear. I am a little worried about having so many grass types, but we get our first egg voucher, which I need to look into egg vouchers. And here we run into Hiker Devin, our first trainer in this cave, and he has an Excadrill, which is absolutely terrifying. I just hope Ivysaur can live and get a grass move off, and of course it can't. This Smart Strike, I'd never used that move before, but it is just going to absolutely obliterate all of my team. Didn't even need that crit, I don't think. The Bulldoze takes down the Monferno. Boldore has no chance. And last but not least, our Pikachu. I'm hoping that maybe somehow we can pull this off. I decide double teaming. If he hits my Pikachu once, we're dead. So I'm hoping to get my evasiveness up. Stomping Tantrum almost defeats us. I decide to double team just to up it again. It's going to miss this time, so I'm like, okay, maybe we're in the clear. Maybe I can get a +6 on evasiveness, and that's it. We lost at level 46. So my first 3 runs made it to 19, 25, and 46. Not too bad. I mean, I can definitely do better now. So if you want to see more content from me, consider giving me a subscription. It would really help out. I would love to play this again, but my name has been Logan S. Have a good day.